pick who you gonna serve. You gonna pick God or you gonna pick God with the A? You're going to pick the one they're going to exploit you and use resources and leverage over you to control you and manipulate you. And when you get over your head, you're going to be crying and asking for help. But it's going to be too late because you're too far deep in. So be mindful of who you working for. Who are you really working for? Stop trying to accuse the one who's trying to lead y'all to permanent salvation, that afterlife, that I'm the one trying to control and tell people what to do. I'm trying to break y'all out of bondage. But if you choose in bondage and be in bondage, you be prepared to face the negative consequences for your acts, for you choosing bondage. Because they're not going to always be nice to you. You're not going to always do things that you're going to be happy to do. That's why Christ fought as hard as he did. That's why the apostles fought as hard as they did. That's why holy men and women still fighting like me as hard as we do for you to get the whole truth and the whole picture. That's why I fight for y'all not to procreate and force others into this realm, because this realm is partly governed by the ones that helped you to fall. That's why you feel compelled to do things, risky things, just for survival. Because they use that over your head to get what they want out of you. To exploit you, manipulate you, humiliate you, whatever. Even working. Sometimes you're not even making enough. You make just enough to get back. They take all day to just give you a raise. And here you go, making more mouths to feed. That's why it said God used evil for good sometimes. That's why certain unions y'all want to condemn, but those unions are helping to lead us to the afterlife, away from her. That's why I said earlier in another video, God used sin to help elevate people out of things, poverty, hurt, but it also uses definitely to transition y'all to the afterlife, to what is good. But I also got to emphasize that celibacy, keeping it to yourself, is always going to be the best option. It's all just to help you. Not to help you. Permanent salvation, permanent escape. Believe me, I don't want, some days I be like, oh my God, I have to brace myself to do this, to face this, and deal with this psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, whatever you want to call it. Taunts, all these different stuff, because I'm advocating the right thing to do, the good, the God, the actual one, the benevolent being with Yeshua that has fought hard and is still fighting to get y'all to permanent salvation, to save y'all, to keep y'all and get y'all from suffering and keep y'all from suffering. But when you birth people back into the old world, you're countering the very one that's trying to help you. So it's like it's crazy, and you wonder why it's crazy, wild, radical stuff happen, like wars and destruction and diseases and COVID-19 and World War I, II, and Vietnam War, all this cuckoo for croco post stuff. You're trying to transition your ass afterlife and to stay there. But when you birth folks, you undoing the very efforts of God. to to keep you in goodness. And then the bad thing about it is sometimes y'all try to use scriptures to pressure people to do the will of the God, the one that folk force you to fall, to coerce you to fall. By emphasizing heterogeneous union is natural. While demonizing other homogeneous union. That's stupid. So you got to question who is really influencing these people in their minds to put this stuff on in paper on the in the book. We know it goes against the original design, but at the same time, it's used the evil for the greater good. In some cases, we don't even need to say it's evil. What is evil is you continuing birthing folks into flesh in a realm where you have access to evil and sin as well as good. That's evil. And then they place in situations, especially if you born into a impoverished family or barely making it, you birthing them in famine, even in the working class, they're compelled. And then they value money. They've been programmed over time to value money more than even ethics. So they do, some people pressure to do more radical, do things just to survive. That is why I advocate and do things and put these videos out. Even in the industry, it shows you the cost of valuing money over your own self. The P. Diddy and Cassie case shows this. Just for a temporary satisfaction. It feels good. But look at all the details, the blood, the guts, and the all kind of fecal matter, bodily fluids. Holy baby oil baptized. Well, for them it's unholy baby oil baptized because they say that man act like a demon. So you see, and then he influenced them and pressed them into stuff just for them to keep their job. They did it. Even one person said they did some mind control on one of the a male stripper guy. Audi doing things. He pressured it. Sometimes even like tortured him for hours. If that ain't hell, I don't know what is. Tortured him for hours a day under mind control. He couldn't move. He was standing still, and he plugged something in his ear and repeating music from P. Diddy. Music. The same lines. Kind of what doing in right now in some way. I'm still with psychological warfare as I'm right now to some degree, deliberately. Have my relatives play the same song over and over again to break me. To show that they watching and stalking. I'm not afraid. Because I know who I reside with and who I'm fighting with. And they do it because they think it's somewhat funny. And this shit is it has its moments. But now when it comes down to the severity of certain others who using it to break them down and to just make them do these things, the racketeering and the trafficking. That's type of slavery that's on a radical level. They're doing it in some cases to tease me. and to try to pressure me to do and advocate for an individual who don't have no remorse over hurting individuals over a long period of time, causing dramatic trauma. Dramatic trauma. Severe. Like the Capricorn girl clock says she got alopecia, spending hours a day. Her life was literally around P. Diddy's lifestyle. That's she lived before P. Diddy. That's it. Spending 4 to 8. Well, no. Only having 4 to 2 hours of sleep, and spend all her time being his assistant. The dedication. The other employees, they working hard for this person, and he threatened them and at gunpoint or hooking them up to lie detector tests, beating on people, kicking that, in front of folks. And he don't care. People using their abilities, their resources and power to bully others, giving them just enough. He even cheated that girl out of money. She said, "Oh, you owe me an extra 80,000 or whatever." He said, "Screw that." He didn't even honor her that. People using whatever they have at their disposal to gain leverage because it gives them some kind of a high to use their power to hurt. I'm using what I have at my disposal to keep y'all safe and free from bondage, from the ones who actually wants to bound you. Christ is using that his ability to actually free y'all from actual bondage, from the ones who actually want to take advantage of your ass forever. That's why they want to keep y'all birthing folks down here, so they can keep taking advantage of y'all and feeding off of y'all. Give it the program, the reprogram with the truth, permanent truth.